Welcome back to the show, guys. Open wide, Dr. Jenny, Susan. Another exciting episode. Today, Susan, we are going to break down. Have you seen the trailer for this Trust Me, the False Prophet?
I've seen the trailer. I haven't watched the whole episode, which I think you have, but yeah, he's a crazy guy.
Everybody needs to watch this. I think there are 4 episodes on Netflix. Trust Me, the False Prophet. His name is Samuel Bateman, and he is a horrible, horrifying guy who took advantage of the Church of Latter-day Saints out in Utah. I don't even know where to start with this. So I did a little background dive on Mormons and what they believe as to how this can happen to girls. He was having sex with underage young girls. He had 15, 20, whatever wives. 9 of them were underage. Thankfully, he's serving a 50-year prison sentence. But I started thinking about, how did this start? And this was just maybe in 2025 that he got his sentence. So here we are running around with our lives, doing our daily thing, and this is going on in front of our faces. The interesting thing was this woman, Christine, and her husband sort of worked their way into the Mormon community.
So they were not Mormons. They were filmmakers or something? Or how'd they...
So she was in a cult as a child. I'm not sure if it was a Mormon cult or not. Okay. Her husband is into videoing, I believe, rock and roll stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, they sort of weave their way into this community. They built trust amongst the Mormons, and the Mormons, this family, Sam Bateman, etc., welcomed them videoing. And Christine was adamant about wanting to protect the girls. Mm-hmm. And man, you want to talk about somebody who was perfect for the job. She was born to do this role. She was born to do this. I was so impressed with her mannerisms, the way she handled everything when they were divulging information. I mean, she's just so impressive to me.
Over what period of time did this filming take place?
Couple years, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a year or 2.
And then she felt like she had enough evidence, so she went to the police.
So interestingly enough, she would gather some information. She would call the local police, and the local police would say, we need some more. This isn't enough. She'd get more, call the local police. And I was wondering...
They're Mormons.
Yes. And are they in on it? Do they know what's happening? Okay.
Sounds like it.
So then... she took her evidence, and we're talking video, voice, the whole shebang, right? She took it to the FBI, and the FBI paid attention. And then the FBI said, we need someone inside the cult to say directly that these things have happened. And thankfully, there was an older woman who was a part of the Sam Bateman ring. And it's horrifying because she was in there. Her children were in there. I mean, it's just unthinkable things. She went over to Christine's house and slowly started talking and laying it all out. And then she agreed to cooperate with the FBI. And they couldn't be discovered. So the way that they masked all of this, impressive. It's so impressive.
Okay, well,
it was the takedown. It was the takedown of the century. And by the way, listeners, this is part 1 because I think we're going to have a part 2 on this. There's too much to discuss. It's too beyond. Take it away, Susan.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, let's talk about cult and cult psychology just to begin with, like why somebody would be attracted to a cult. And now I get that, religion is often a backbone of cult behavior, but it's usually started by some charismatic leader. We can think of many of them, the Branch Davidians for one, and that guy in Costa Rica that killed 900 people with the Kool-Aid, whatever his name was. These were charismatic leaders, and this guy, Sam Bateman, it sounds like charismatic leaders that people wanted to follow. And so what makes somebody want to follow a leader like that? Why would you suspend all common sense? Forgetting the religious construct for just a second, but why would you suspend all common sense to join a cult? And The answer, I think, is that you want a feeling of belonging and you want a feeling of not having to make decisions on your own. You want to give the day-to-day decision making to somebody else because you're just not capable of it. And not surprisingly, I read that cults are on the rise now because we're in such a turmoil societally that people just are giving up. They don't want to make any more decisions, and so they're being led to these cults or these charismatic leaders. So I find that very interesting. And not surprisingly, these charismatic leaders are narcissists. So hence, that's the reason why Sam agreed to be filmed, because it's all about him, right? He didn't realize that that would also be his downfall. But they're narcissistic and they're, sort of little people, but they have a voice and they've somehow been able to command these groups to follow them. And it's just a fascinating psychology. I'd love to have somebody on who knows more about it to learn, like,
I think
what are the signs? Like, yeah.
I think there's an actual term called cult psychology.
Okay,
like
probably,
it's a field of psychology that specifically deals with cults. I may be wrong on that, but I think there is.
No, you're probably right.
This Sam Bateman, by the way, when you talked about ego and all of that, he would drive around in his Bentley, which had white interior, in his white leather matching jacket, of his white Bentley. So
and
ego.
So, see, that's the thing I'm talking about. Why am I eating ramen noodles while you're driving around in a Bentley? Like, where is the common sense with some of these followers? Like, wait a minute, this isn't making any. I've given you all my money or whatever, and now I'm poverty stricken. But you're driving around in a Bentley. I just don't understand why people don't say, "Hey, wait, this isn't good. I'm not staying, or I'm not joining, or something." I don't know.
I think it's a slow stripping away,
probably,
of you. So if I wanted to induct you into the Jenny cult, which there's no Jenny cult
yet, there will be. There will be. These followers, these podcast followers are going to be giving up their lives.
Do you have time for a cult? I don't have time for a cult. Anyway, it starts with okay, Susan, so now you need to tithe. You need to start tithing that money away. You really shouldn't own things, Susan. So let's start selling things. And then it goes to, you don't need to dress this way, Susan. Susan, you really shouldn't talk to family. They're bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
See, that's
friends. Bad.
Yeah.
Come on over here and sit in this hole with me. Let's isolate you and let's slowly over the years strip you down. And then let's feed your brain with all this malarkey about the prophet says to do this, because Latter-day Saints believe in prophets.
Yeah.
They sadly, in my opinion, believe in polygamy. And so they're looking for that higher thing to tell them how to breathe, how to blink your eyes. Everything.
Yeah. I guess I can understand if you've grown up like that and that's all you know, it kind of makes sense to follow it as an adult. I'm stepping outside of the Mormon issue right now, and I'm saying, why do people join cults after they've already had a free life where they were able to make free choices of their own, and they're now joining and then getting stripped away? That's the more fascinating part for me about cults.
It is, and I would imagine, say you have a woman who's been abused in a marriage, right? And she's escaped that.
Yeah.
She's used to a really horrifying marriage existence, right? Then you meet somebody that disguises themselves as a prophet or, a wonderful
benefactor of some sort.
Right. From the frying pan to the fryer. I think that would be an easy target, the psychology. So it's absolutely fascinating how, and then the women that are in the cult are having babies constantly to give the babies to the cult. So you give your children to the cult, to this man. So it's just like a sex trafficking inside ring.
Yeah. Right. Now back to Sam. So he's in jail. Did the cult dissolve, or what's going on with the other members of the cult? Do you know anything about what happened?
So I know the underage girls were put in a house, like in another state.
Okay.
They moved them out. And then 2 of the women that were not underage spent time in prison. And I believe that was sort of their eye-opening, wow, my life has been a lie. This guy, Sam, has been a lie.
Yeah.
Everything I've been told has been a lie. So they sort of woke up, but poor things. I
Yeah.
mean, can you imagine serving time in prison?
No.
I can't imagine that. And then secondly, coming out of prison, and one of them is living with a family member, and the other one I'm not sure. And then there are a lot of them where I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
But they've got a long road ahead of them. I don't know how you work your way mentally out of what he indoctrinated in you.
Right. I don't know how you do it either. But let's hope there's some salvation for them now. This particular group you're talking about, that somebody's come in to help them get acclimated into, quote, real life.
Well, and the other thing that I was thinking about, Susan, is on this show, we want to empower people to open to the possibilities of their life, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have someone that is a female, male, whomever, that's down and out and mentally lost or searching or seeking, I think part of what I and you want to do here is empower people to think for yourselves, make a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And not buy into Mormonism being able to take away all your troubles.
Or any cult, for that matter. Not just because, you could pretty much say that kind of any organized religion could, by some larger definition, be considered cult-like because you follow these rules. In my mind, the most dangerous cults, of course, are the ones that take over your whole life, and you give them their money and you give them your mind and you do what they say, and that's that. But to your point, we'd have to understand what the red flags are to know whether we see somebody that would be susceptible to that. And then also, let me say, I feel very sorry for these parents who have lost children to cults. That's got to be the worst, that they cannot see them. The children are now brainwashed to believe that the parents are the enemy. And there's many stories like that.
It's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking, yeah.
I think one major red flag after watching this Netflix series for me was the isolationism. There's no reason that you should not be able to talk to friends and family.
Yeah.
Friendships you've had forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Or people tearing down your relationships.
Yeah.
In an attempt to isolate you from those people. I think that's a red flag right there.
Yeah.
Big one.
Often these cults are couched in some sort of educational well-being thing. Like you take these courses because you want to be a better person or you want to achieve more, you want to get to the top of the heap or whatever. And so they make it sound normal. And then they keep just selling you this craziness. And you just end up feeling like, okay, I need one more level and then I'll feel better. Or I need to buy these other books or this other course or spend another year doing that. I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. Sam would have the girls, he would hold classes every day. And the classes, they would have to write in a notebook. And the woman that ended up talking to the FBI, she brought the notebook over so that Christine, the interviewer, could look at it and ultimately, turn it into the FBI, I believe. But they would write things like, they would justify, Sam would have them write things to justify his horrifying behavior. Like the prophet wants me to be with Sam in all ways. And they would write it 5 times.
Yeah.
The prophet wants me to be with Sam in all ways. The pages and pages of notebooks.
Yeah. The disturbing thing about this particular story is that this guy, Sam, I think it was a protege of Warren Jeffs, who is also serving time in prison for the exact same reason. He had many wives, many of them were underage. He had like 50, 30 or so. I mean, some major amount of wives. And many of them were underage. And so he's also in jail for, I don't know what the exact charges are, but something related to sexual abuse or sexual coercion. And now here's his protege. So why is there only one of them? You've got to believe that there's others in the organization probably doing the same thing. And I guess, how do we discover that? Or how does that get cracked down on? I don't know.
I think it's one person at a time. It's one revelation at a time. The way that they discovered this, and this came on the radar, is Sam became afraid that he was going to be discovered. So he put these wives in, most of them, I think probably all of them, into his truck. And then he had a trailer and he put the rest of them in this trailer attached to his truck. And I guess, you know how on the back of a trailer, there's going to be this bar that kind of locks the doors, you know, boom. Well, the bar didn't work on the trailer. And so the women were holding from inside the doors shut as they were going down the highway.
Where was he taking it?
In this trailer, I guess out of state or somewhere, because he felt like they were going to raid his whatever. He was running.
God, this is a nightmare.
Someone on the road saw fingers out of the top of the trailer and called the police. And then the police came in. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, that really is unbelievable in this day and age, to know. And of course, you know that it's going on in other forms all over the place.
Well, and I was going to say, they mentioned, when I was doing a little bit of searching, they mentioned yoga. There are yoga cult leaders and yoga classes. And I think years ago, I went to this yoga place. I won't name it because it's probably, absolutely fine these days. But there was a teacher there that was having inappropriate relations with students. So I don't know.
I mean, I guess the common denominator is that women need to, again, stick up for themselves and protect themselves against predators of any kind, cult or otherwise. And we talk often in this show about how do we empower young girls to know that, to watch for the symbols and signs, and to take a different direction.
But there's no such thing as a dental cult. Like, there's no dentistry cult that I know of that I've ever heard of.
Right.
Right. So why does it just hit certain professions or certain occupations?
Well,
is there a dermatology cult? Is there a OBG? You know what I mean? Like,
jeez, I hope there's not an OBGYN cult. My God. Or a proctology cult would be bad too. No. I mean, I think it could probably show up pretty much anywhere. But the reality is, it's less about a career or a job and more about how you think about yourself and how susceptible you are to anybody's commands or anybody's benevolence. Like, do you have a moral compass of your own so you know what doesn't feel right? And how do you develop that? I guess that's the issue we always wrestle with young girls, is how do we get them to develop that?
So let me ask you a couple hardline questions. Like, if you were young and somebody asked you to start giving your money, or like, what's a line in the sand for you that you would not like stop talking to friends and family, or change your entire appearance, or like, what are some lines in the sand or red flags to you that would apply?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to give my money away. I know how hard it is to work for money, and I'm not going to just give it away to somebody.
I think that should be number one.
I think so too. But you'd have to know how hard it is to work to get money in order to understand you don't just give it away to people because they've asked for it,
Right.
So there's that. And then sexual favors, I think, feel very strongly about. Would want to make sure that it was a relationship that was balanced and healthy and happy for me before I ever did any of that. But I'm also not 12 either, or 8. So
you can't know at those ages.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to do because, as we've talked in previous podcasts about the Jeffrey Epstein thing, for example, when those girls people were dangling $100 bills in front of them, they didn't care what it took to get that $100 bills because it meant that they could get new shoes, new dresses, new makeup. And that's all that was important to them at the time. So how do you get to those girls? That's the big conundrum, I think.
And maybe because children of that age are supposed to be in school, maybe it's got to be something implemented with the school system.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but I wish I did know.
But I think there are like some major red flags. You do have to be a little older to understand the concept of money, the value of money. I do think the sexual favors for no reason, that's a red flag. I think pulling you away from talking to people that you love and trust, that's a red flag. Wanting to just be with you exclusively all the time because they love you.
Yeah.
No, that's a red flag. It's not balanced. But like you said, when you're 12, 14 years old, you're not going to have a command of all of that.
Right. That's exactly right. And, this podcast is about cults, which we tend to think as groups of people who are brainwashed in one way or another. And that's definitely true. But, the online presence these days and the easy access to chat rooms for these young kids or places where predators could pry on young kids. Oh, your mom yelled at you again at 12-year-olds. Your mom wants you to clean your room again. I know you're really sad. And then they build on that and they build trust. And then why don't we just meet, for, a ice cream soda or whatever the heck,
right?
Outside of the house, and they start building trust. Well, that's, cult-like behavior too, right? Predatory behavior. I don't know. It's a dark subject and it's a wormhole that we could stay in forever of talking about.
Well, and Sam Bateman, the women that were his wives, he was friends with two of the husbands of those women. And those two people were funding Sam Bateman. So if he needed money for this or money for that.
And they knew about it too?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, why aren't they in jail?
They are. Okay. I wanted to bring that to light too.
Good.
So this roundup by the FBI and the FBI agent that was the lead on this case, this was her last case. And she said this made her entire career worthwhile.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And
good.
I think, but the sentence for Sam Bateman was 50 years. I don't know the laws in Utah, but I think life would have been too short.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
A life sentence would have been too short for this
he's
man.
Also old, right? I mean, he's not likely to see daylight again, isn't he?
He's, what would you say?
40. So he'll be 90 when he gets out. Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, it is kind of a life. I mean, it is kind of a life sentence. But no, to your point, I mean, I don't know. The death penalty might be a good reason to talk about that too, because these are vulnerable, impressionable, innocent women, young girls. And these narcissistic bully predators.
And it was also pretty impressive in a sick way to me to watch this person command all these people all the time, even when he wasn't around.
Yeah.
And even when he was put in prison, he would have phone calls all day long with these girls, with these women, his 20 whatever wives.
Yeah.
So even when he wasn't there, he was commanding their lives.
Okay, so that seems like a hole in the net to me, because if the FBI goes in, raids him, arrests him for all the reasons that we discussed, and they don't offer some sort of an educational or rehabilitation or reinsertion into society courses or lifestyle for these girls, that they still feel like they can get on the phone and talk to him, that's as bad, if you ask me.
Exactly. He was calling them.
Okay,
he was calling them for. So the first time he was arrested, it was from the fingers in the trailer sticking out. So he was, I don't know, I'm not familiar with the legal terms. I haven't been to prison. But that first time that they put him in jail, he could call out all the time. But when they did the big roundup and really gave him 50-year sentence and whatever, he wasn't allowed to contact the girls anymore.
Okay, but still, that first part, like, why was that even allowed? That would be like your rapist being able to call you on a regular basis. That where's the law around that? That doesn't make any sense to me.
And you know what? That's a good point, because maybe we need to change the law.
Yeah.
If a child is involved, then these things apply.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
All right. Are we done talking about this? This is the most macabre. Well, depressing.
I want our listeners to watch Trust Me, The False Prophet on Netflix, because it's 4 episodes, and you're just going to sit there with, I was sitting there with my mouth open. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And And it's an inside look. It's not a news report. No, you are inside watching it all go on.
Besides watching the 4 segments, I'm wondering if there's something we can tell the listeners to do as well to try and make some small effort to get this stuff stopped.
Well, I think when you're out and about, and excuse me for interrupting you, because when you are out and about, you've got to have your eyes wide open. And if you see children that aren't acting right, or you get a weird feeling about, is that, like something's off here?
Yeah.
I think you should report it. I mean, I'm not going around reporting everything.
Right.
But for instance, I was in Fort Lauderdale and I saw something in a grocery store and I thought, that's not okay. This right here is not, this doesn't look good. And I went over to the store manager and I said something.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what to do here, but
oh, good for you.
This doesn't. So I think if we just keep our eyes open.
Okay, that's good advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Airline personnel are trained to watch for this very thing. Like, are there people, like a man and a young girl being transported from one state to another, and does she look uncomfortable? I think that's great training that they're given. Yeah.
And as a dentist, we are taught to look for signs of sexual abuse.
Okay.
When we're doing an exam with children.
Oh, okay.
Signs and symptoms, even like cigarette burns on children's arms and things like that. And if you see it as a dentist or a medical professional, you have to report it.
Okay.
You have to turn it over. Right. You have to say something.
So did you ever have a situation where, like a man and a woman, or a man and a child came in to have some dental work and he wanted to sit in the room with her? Because that's the other thing. They don't let them out of their sight.
Right.
Did that ever happen to you?
I had one incident, and this little boy was 4 or 5 years old, and the parent was not there. I would bus children in, and we would do free cleanings for the kids.
Okay.
Ages like 4 to 11 or something like that. Yeah. And this little guy looked at me, I'll never forget him, and he said, I hate it when Daddy throws things at me. And I said, what kind of things does he throw? And he said, today or this morning at breakfast, he told me that he took the dishes and he was trying to hit him in the head with the dishes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So then what?
So I reported it. And it was a little scary because the place that was watching the children knew that I was providing this service for the kids, and all the parents had to sign a paper.
Right, so they would know where to find you.
So they would know where to find me.
Oh, God.
But I stood up for that child, and I don't know what happened to that, but that's the only incident that I have.
Yeah.
And I hope that guy's okay.
Yeah. So your suggestion is some good advice. Like, we need to keep our eyes more wide open for things that just don't seem right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's like all over the place. I'm sure we see it like every day. We just don't notice it. You know what I mean? Like, because we're more aware because we're talking about it today. So, yeah.
Well, and people that say, well, I don't want to cause waves, or, who am I to butt in? And listen, if there's nothing to hide there, they won't take any offense to it. It's not a big deal. You're just being a responsible citizen who cares about children.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
So I don't know. It's like if it sparks something, maybe there's something bigger that should have been noticed, and hooray for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sergeant Jenny's out now. I'm done. Anything else, Susan?
No. Can we get on to a lighter subject?
Let's move on.
But thanks for bringing this up, because it's an important subject to talk about. And my heart just goes out particularly to parents who've lost children to cults, and particularly to women who just don't have the strength or the wherewithal or the knowledge or the life experience to be able to make decisions on their own. And so any way we can help is, even talking about it is good. Yeah.
And I would like to high five that Sam Bateman is in jail.
Yeah,
woo!
that's for sure.
And that is a cult.
Rap.
Sam Bateman rap. We thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please share this show with friends and family and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way, you'll never miss weekly drops. Stay strong, dream big, and floss your teeth.